If you ever find yourself over here looking at them, they're separated from the wall. Hey, welcome back everybody. So I'm out here in my chicken lot and I've been neglecting this project for a good long while now. So brief backstory. I've had my chickens probably a year and a half or so, and I built them this red little chicken hen house thing. So obviously they could lay their eggs or they could stay in there at night. Well, over the course of the time that I've had these chickens, they do not use this whatsoever. So if we look above here, I've got shavings on top of it. So what the chickens started to do whenever they could start flying is they would take off and they would actually just end up perching up here at nighttime. And then they completely stopped using these nesting boxes over here. And I have a milk crate in the back corner, and that's what they use. So with all that being said, and with how nasty as you can imagine this gets, this thing needs to go away. So what I plan on doing is I plan on replacing this whole red hen house, and I just want to put some perch bars, probably at some type of 45-degree angle, hanging off of these back posts. And I'll probably try to do 2 to 3 rows. That way they can have plenty of space. And the fact that the chickens are never really going inside, so I'm not too worried about them needing an inside shelter, even though it's open to this area over there. But I think that'll be just fine. I'll build them something to try to come off here and then run it back so that they can roost over there. So with that being said, if I get rid of this, they're going to need a place to lay some eggs. So this one little section that should open up over here is where I plan on building a nesting box. My intentions is to build a nesting box that has just 2 sides to it, because at the end of the day, a lot of these chickens, they end up using the same one no matter how many they have. So if they have 2, they have plenty of options, and only have 5 laying chickens, so I'm not too worried about them overrunning one box, because they pretty much do that anyways with the milk crate that's inside. So I grabbed some measurements earlier. So these 2 posts are the post where I'm planning on putting the nesting boxes, and from outside to outside, that's 28.5 inches. And so what I probably will do is cut some 2x4s that will offset a little bit to this left side over here. That way the roost bars that I plan on replacing this with are not right on top of the nesting boxes, and I kind of have the same problem that I already have where it's pretty nasty. I don't want to show you what's going on behind that box over there, because it's not perfectly sealed to that wall, as you can imagine. And over time, it's just got really nasty back behind there. And so I found that it was time to get that replaced and give them something that's a little bit more suitable for what they actually use the area for. So let's get over here. We'll get to cutting some wood. And I've got some wood from a sawmill that I plan on using. So it'll be kind of a mix of some pine, probably a little bit of white oak. Who knows? And I might have to run to the store anyway. So let's get some wood cut and kind of see where we go from there. All right, so here's the idea of the simple nesting box that I'm really going for. It will probably vary just a little bit by the time I'm done with it, but I've got some OSB over here, some 2x4s, a couple of saws, a couple of drills. Like I said, here's some white oak from a sawmill. These were offcuts. Another full sheet of OSB if I need it, and I've got more white oak inside if I need it. But so what my plan is to do right now is cut some runners out of these 2x4s. That way they can mount to those posts that were over there. Like so, the measurement for that is 28.5, and that's what I'm going to cut first. We'll go from there. And the good thing about this whole project is I don't have to be too precise. It's for chickens. If I wanted to be super precise or something like that, I would just take a lot more time, and I don't have that much time to be able to get this done. So I want to get as much done as I can, as simple as I can too. The main purpose of these 2x4s mounting to those posts is so that, since this OSB is relatively thin, when I mount this whole thing to those posts, I'll have a thicker piece of wood to go along with the OSB that goes into that post, just for a little bit of strength. That's pretty much all it's for. Close enough. us tools. All right, so here's kind of a outline of what I've got so far. So this piece right here I've cut, which is going to be kind of my front. So this will be like your semi-front wall. It's probably, I think this piece was 5 3/4. So there's about 3.5, 4 inches sticking up right here that the chickens would walk over. They would go into either side right here, lay, and then I probably will take another piece very similar to this and somewhere put it just right there to kind of separate them off. Hadn't decided yet if I want to do a full wall. I don't think it truly matters. I have this piece right here, so it would kind of sit up and elevated just like so. Now, it's probably not the most structurally sound thing that has ever been built, but this 2x4 represents one of the back pieces that I'm going to screw into the post. Then I would get some screws and just kind of put them through the ends of all these little blocking pieces right here for some stability. And the chicken only weighs like 4 to 5 pounds. Obviously the wood weighs the most. And then a piece like this is not cut to the actual dimensions yet, but this should sit somewhere in there like so. And then I'll probably cut some pieces that will eventually, that'll just kind of cover right here that I can screw into here. And then there will be another 2x4 that helps support this. And I'll do that for both of them. And then I'll try to figure out what I may do for a little roof. I may not fully enclose it. And the reason for that is if I kind of leave it semi-open, they wouldn't want to stand on it. If I fully box it in, they'll probably want to stand on it, kind of like what they do now with the current house. And if I can avoid that, I will. They're used to laying in something that has an open top anyways, with it being a milk crate. So like I said, if I get something that's roughly going to potentially cover it up, I can come in and fill a little piece in on top, something pretty small to just kind of give them a false top right there. So I'm gonna keep cutting some pieces. I'm gonna start tacking some of this together and kind of see where we end up from there. Then I'll check back in a second. All right, so this is what we got so far. As you can see, if you're looking at it from the front, this piece is the front. I've got my little divider block in. I have not screwed it in yet because there's a good chance that I'll probably need to cut some of this backside off more when I put in the back wall of this. That way it can fit. So clearly I'm gonna have to probably cut off 7/8 or 1/2 inch, whatever it ends up needing to be. But from here, I'm gonna take my other sheet of OSB, go ahead and get the correct dimension for my wall in the back, screw that other 2x4 in, and what that should do is it should kind of lock in the back part together. This thing is pretty sturdy as it is, and if I need to, I can cut some 2x4s that will run similar to studs along there. That way it just adds a little extra reinforcement on the sides. And then from there, I'll just have to cut out some little walls, and I think I might have this thing wrapped up. This side over here looks funny just because I have purposely offset it a little bit, because I want to push this thing farther to the left whenever I mount it in the chicken run off of that post. That way it's farther away from the future roost bars that I'm going to have there. Here's an idea of what this is going to end up looking like. Like I said, I need to cut that centerpiece a little bit because now it's too long. But I'm going to throw some screws up in here, and then I'll get to the wall portion, and I should have this thing pretty well knocked out. See the side I made right here. This should work out just fine. Now I can't really trace this piece for the other side just because this piece right here extends all the way back, so I'll have to figure something out on this side. But I'm gonna get this one installed first. What that should do is it should help bring this side and this side more together. That way it doesn't flex as much. You can kind of see that shake a little bit, and this should kind of strengthen it up just a tad. I may have hit a screw there. And I want to pre-drill this just because this white oak is extremely tough. That's why I've been pre-drilled if you've seen me do that. That's, in theory, what I'm trying to do is to help that out just a little.
What's going on?
Howdy, gentlemen.
Not a whole lot, not a whole lot.
I'm going to chalk this up to luck. So this is the offcut from when I cut this part. And all I did was just turn it up sideways, and it's actually the perfect width for what I need to fit in this little slot from the back to the 2x4s. And it runs all the way down the side. I can get some screws in this front part, and I have this 2x4 across the bottom. All right, so as you can see, I've got everything screwed in, top, sides, back, bottom. So the only thing that's left is this center section. So originally I had a piece of white oak cut right here that would slide down in there. But as I was looking, as I had some of these offcuts come along, I was like, that's the perfect angle. So all I did was I took some more of the OSB. That way I'm just not wasting it. And this piece slides right down in there. Now it's not completely tight in there, but that's okay, because I was thinking I'll just keep this removable if I need to. What I would need to remove it for, maybe to clean it or something like that. But I had some more of these offcuts here. So what I'll do is I'll just screw these in here, and that'll kind of be the slot that this thing lives in. So what I got to do is kind of find the center of where this is. Then I'll get some screws in through this, into the 2x4s, top and bottom. That way it'll have a place to be secure. And I'll slide that thing down in there. There, that's in there pretty snug. This moves a little bit, no problem. If I need to really get it out, I can just yank it up. Let's see. This thing is pretty close to being done. I've got a longer piece sitting over here, so I might be able to add that for a little false top. And this thing should be ready to install. I got my little top made right here. You can see this thing take the shape that it's supposed to take. Now, of course, I got two sides here, fill this full of shavings or whatever. I'll take this part, mount this straight to the post. I'll go through the sides over here and may still add another 2x4 on this back side, just for mounting purposes. That way I can get those on the post as well. But I'm not going to be able to install this today. We'll have to stay tuned for that. And the biggest reason why is I still need to take the other chicken house off of, I'll need to take it off of the wall. And then I need to have my new perch system built up. I would like to install everything at one time. Just don't have the time to do that today. There. That looks like a nesting box to me. Stay tuned. We'll get this thing installed here before too long. I may still add some feet or something that run out from the front and put like a small roosting bar across the front. That way when the chickens are ready to lay, if they want to, they can hop up there before they dive straight into the box. And I think that's probably actually going to be really necessary to do. But yeah, this turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to. Usually my construction projects are pretty rough because I don't usually plan too well. And I didn't plan too good for this one either, but I took my time and I tried to make sure that I cut once, measured 3 or 4 times. That way I didn't have a bunch of odd lengths of stuff that I've done in the past multiple times. So appreciate you watching. Stay tuned. We'll get the roost bar done here before too long. We'll show you everything about that too. We'll catch you on the next one. And here's the little roost bars I'm going to add.